Welcome everybody. So I guess that you are all here because you are curious or you want to know a little bit more about job assessments, okay? It's very normal when you apply for a design position that at some point they will ask you to do an exercise, okay? An assessment, and this is to validate your skills, okay? This can go from something very simple that maybe takes a day into like projects that are like a week, which is, on my opinion, kind of too much. Okay, so you will see, you will see like what is reasonable and what is not. Okay. Well, I did this in the past. It's very normal, and my idea is to share with you the process, how I tackle things, and also for you to visualize how I did the presentation and so on. So when you face this situation yourself, you more or less can have an idea of what is expected, okay? I will also be asking you after I present the case studies that I delivered or the job assessments, if I got the job or not. Please do not check my LinkedIn, okay? Don't, how do you say it in English? Don't trick the system in this case, okay? I will just present and then you tell me your opinion, okay? Good. How many of you are actually applying for a job? Tell me in the chat. Did you start already applying, or you are still finishing? Or did you already went to an interview? Lisa, starting to apply. Ali, Daisy, hello from New York City. Natalie is ready, just started, perfect. Okay, so this is a good webinar for you to watch. Okay, good. I see a lot of people applying. Great. Yeah, and the ones that are still finishing the studies, it's also good for you to start understanding how is this going to be. Okay, before we start, actually, usually job applications, they have like some stages. Okay, first you have a call from the recruiter normally, and they will assess your culture fit, okay, and get to know a little bit more generic things maybe. Yeah, and then if you are a match, means that the recruiter liked you, and the designers or the people that are hiring saw your portfolio, they thought it was okay. You probably get invited to talk with the design team or your design manager, and they will ask you to show a case study. This is very normal. Yeah, it could also be that after this, or instead of the case study, they ask you to do an assessment. Okay, both situations happen. Okay, they see your portfolio and they ask you to do something, or they want you to present the case study and they also ask you to do something. Okay, there will be cases where they don't ask you to do anything, and this is also perfect, the ideal situation. In the past years, I refuse to do job assessments unless my skills are not proven in my portfolio, okay? Because I have many years of experience and it doesn't make any sense. But when we are starting, it's very normal that this happens, okay? Now, if you don't know Designlab, for those that aren't familiar, is an online educational organization focusing on helping new and established designers build their careers in digital design. Designlab has a lot of new courses as well, okay, inclusive in Figma and so on. So you might want to double check the website if you don't know it yet. If you are interested in taking your design career to the next level, you can reach out to the admissions team, okay? So I'm going to just talk a little bit about my background so you get to know me, and then I'm going to walk you through the projects of the visual designer position for QB, senior visual designer for Travix, and senior UX UI designer for letgo. Okay, 3 different companies throughout the years. Okay, so this is not last year, it has been in the past, but they are recent. Okay, they are up to date still. That's what I meant. All right, so a little bit about myself. I started my career over 16 years ago. I was working in advertising agencies, okay, big ones back in Lisbon. I'm Portuguese, by the way, and I work with with big brands like Volkswagen, Pepsi, and a lot of big brands in Portugal. In the first 7-8 years, I work at Avas and DDB. I don't know if you know it. They are digital agencies, okay. After this time in advertising, I did a break and I went to take a master's degree in design and multimedia, and I started to move into UX as well, okay? Before I was working more as a visual UI designer, yeah? When I finished my master, I moved to Amsterdam. Okay, I did my master thesis there, and I was in a program very cool that is called now Digital Society School. At the time, it was called Media Lab Amsterdam, and in there, I learned a lot of innovation, a lot of different techniques, and a lot of different things. By the way, you should check it. Okay, they always have openings, and it's a very good program. Okay, I strongly recommend. It's something that you can do after your studies, for example. Yeah. Then in Amsterdam, I work at the UX boutique, doing a lot of work for Philips. I actually even went to Seattle. That's what I know from the United States for work at the time. And after that, after working so many years in agencies, I moved into product companies, and I've worked in the fields of services and consumer goods. I will not tell much more, so that I don't give any clues. All right. Cool. At the end, I will give my LinkedIn, so if you want to connect, okay? Now, let's go through the first one. Let's see if there's any question here. Okay, no, just, all right, starting to apply and so on. Perfect. Now, let's go through this one. This was for a visual designer position at QB, a company, and they gave me a briefing, let's call it, okay? So, the scenario, the UI for Toon, which is like a device that they had, a smart thermostat, is going to be redesigned. It will get a new brand style, so it will impact most of the screen real estate. New features will be added to Toon as well as part of a new proposition. Yeah, just the scenario of what was happening. It is requested to create a series family of 3 icons. That was it, okay, for visual position. 2 icons of current features and an icon of the new feature, schoen op toon. That means trash, picking up the trash, okay, in Dutch. So this was it, yeah? Number one thing that I always have done, I plan before I start, okay? I never start going directly into Figma or whatever, because, I mean, before Figma, there was different softwares as well, okay? You never do this. First, you sit and you plan things through. What am I going to do and how long am I going to take in each step? This is so important because you can get super overwhelmed, okay? And you can get super entangled into what you're doing, that the time is passing and you need to deliver and you get confused. And yeah, it's going to be a mess. Yeah, first thing is always planning, okay? So sit down with some post-its. What am I going to do first? Well, maybe first I need to do this. And then after, how much time am I going to take in each step, considering the time that I have to do this? For example, okay, this is always how I plan it, okay? I will tell you at the end how much time it took me to do each one of the assessments, but this is extremely important, okay? Number one, always plan before you start and commit to it. If you say, I'm going to spend 1 hour collecting inspiration, spend 1 hour. What you have is what you have, okay? Otherwise, oh, the camera is, no, you are supposed to see my screen, of course. You don't see the presentation where it says assessment? Yeah, everybody sees. Yeah, maybe the person that was saying kids you, maybe you have my face expanded instead of the screen. Okay, now you scared me. Good, let's continue. So, thanks for the feedback, everybody. So first thing you already know, always plan first. What am I going to do? How long am I going to spend and commit to it? Otherwise, you will not finish it. Okay? Perfect. Good. So this was the request. Now let's go into the case study. All right. You see this as well, right? This presentation. No, Kit2. No, don't turn your camera on. It's just that you need to probably, you know where is my image? There's an arrow that expands. You need to expand the other one, the presentation, probably. Okay? Good. Let me just, okay. So All right, perfect. So let's go here with Toon. And so this assessment, we already know it was to design icons, right? So how do I start it? Yeah, I planned what I was going to do, and now we are going to see the presentation. I always give a bit of context. I tell this to all my students, okay, from mentees, all the schools. Always you need to give some context. What was this about? Which company is this? And the request itself, okay? What is an icon? What is an icon series? And so on, yeah? This could have been just one A4 deliverable, okay? Honestly, it's 3 icons, yeah? But that's not what they are looking for, okay? Companies want to see your process, how you think, how you tackle things, okay? Very important also to start in paper, not digitally, okay? That's another tip. So I started with ideation, and I needed to understand a little bit the user and the product. The product was about, it was a smart thermostat, and it was all about energy. I'll try to be more or less brief, otherwise we don't have time. But the point is, it was very related with not wasting energy. So the user would be a person that would, in my view, because I didn't have access to that, okay? So from what I saw in the website and so on. So the user would be something that is concerned about sustainability and nature, okay, not wasting and so on and so on. Based on that, I got inspired, okay, this is a person that is connected with earth, no, and with nature, and that doesn't want to waste things and so on. So I got inspired by the 4 elements to design the icons or to explore the icons possibilities, yeah? Mood board, yeah? Very important when you do anything that is UI related that you are creating, a mood board is very helpful to have, okay? So this is my inspiration based on fire, air, water, earth, yeah? So I explained here the elements, and then I start to explore it. But I start to explore it on paper. This is important, okay? This is very important when you are hiring somebody to see that they think things through, okay? Because when you move into digital too fast and you have to do a lot of changes, it's more expensive because you will take more time. It's important first to think things first in paper, yeah? And then when you are convinced, let's say, you move into digital, okay? So I shared here, the exploration, okay, some concepting around it. How was the icons inspired in fire, in water, in wind, and earth? Well, as very briefly, the idea here is that if it's earth, is like the roots of the tree, so that's the outline. The water is something that feels, so that was filled. Fire has light and shadows, so it will be icons with shadow, and the wind, it would be something that overlaps, okay? Then in here, explaining a little bit like the shapes and the design of it, some explorations, okay? Then I moved further into refine it, okay? So here you see the ones with the shadow based on the fire, the water, the wind, you see the overlapping, the earth with the roots. Then I was playing with colors and exploring a little bit the colors. There's some studies here with saturation and so on. I continue then to refine it. In here, I explain the rules of building an icon set. So if you never design an icon set, or you grab it from plugins and so on, icons take a lot of effort to do. It's good practice if you try to do a mini icon set yourself, like 6 icons, for example, yeah? It's a good skill to have because not all the times the icons that you'll be grabbing will have all the symbols you need for whatever you are doing. So you should be able to create one that fits, okay? In here, explaining a little bit the rules, how they were built. Yeah, here the same thing as well. And then in here, a mock-up, yeah, how it looks like in the product. Notice like all the steps, iteration I started on paper, up until you see it here on the device itself, okay? And everything was explained, my decisions and so on. Also, the device had like a dark background as well, so I placed it here as well. And I even had attachments here with my process, okay? Planning and first thoughts, this is how I started, okay? then writing some stuff, thinking about before I actually went into, I think I did this in Illustrator, okay, at the time. Yeah, still a very good software for vector, yeah. And then I even add here like the time and effort. Yeah, I didn't add the hours on purpose, but I add like how much from all this time that I spent, then how much time I dedicated to each part, so they knew more or less how I would work. Yeah, good. So questions you might have, and also, did I got the job? I'm waiting a little bit. Take home assignment it was, yeah. It was not, I don't have any one here that was on the spot. I do have one actually that was on the spot, a full day. Maybe I can bring in the next time. I see here, yes. Yes. They didn't give me, I don't think they give me specific time frame. Maybe they just say, okay, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or something. It took me a weekend to do this. Okay, so probably like 16 hours, not more than that. Yeah, so I guess it was more that yeah, we wanted Monday or Tuesday or so, and then I took a weekend. Yeah, all these projects that you'll be seeing here took 16 hours more or less, 2 days. Yeah. Yes, I did got the job. Okay, they were very impressed with the, as you were saying, with the details. I explained all the process. Okay, I showed the process. Okay, with pictures or sketches. I explained my decisions very well. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, to show the process and the decisions you are making and why. Many times you'll have assumptions. You don't know who are the users. You don't know that much about previous research. Just go with what you have and explain that. Okay, this is fine. Yeah. Did you make notes for yourself to the presentation? No, but that's a personal thing because I'm very enthusiastic. Okay, so I know what I want to talk or how I want to present, but I usually don't use notes. I just go ahead and talk. But this has to do with my personality. Okay, so you do what is best for you. Do you think this process is typical of showing all the steps? Yes. Okay. Remember, this is a visual design position as well. So depends on the position you are applying, but yes, you have to show, well, if you want to get the job, you should show the process. Okay. You should show that you know things, how to do things. It's more important the process and how you tackle, how you think, than the actual result. Okay, this is valid for any position at any seniority level. Okay. No, I present. You are always invited to present. Okay, if you are not, it's kind of weird. You usually are invited to go there with the team and present. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay. If you have any other questions, let's move it to the questions and then we can tackle. Okay, so I have time to present everything. Yeah. All right. Now I had like this one, senior visual designer for Travix. Okay, so this was another assessment. Adrian, move this into the questions. Okay, so I don't forget. Yeah. All right. So let's continue. This one for a senior position. Scenario: at Travix, we are good at finding you the best deal for any particular date and destination, but what if you don't really care about the specific date and or destination for your flight? To support feature functionalities like search for flexible dates, fly anywhere, etc., we want to improve our current landing pages. Take this page about Europe as an example, as we know there's a lot to improve. I mean, I don't know if this page honestly is still active, right? Let me just get here really quick. Let's see. Probably it has changed in the meanwhile, okay? But just out of curiosity, I think it might change a little bit. Yeah, just out of curiosity. This was their page. This is like a traveling, okay? So more or less you get an idea. Yeah, I think it was a little bit different in any case. Take it like this, okay? So they wanted me to improve this page. Design a compelling landing page within the cheaptickets.nl brand. The subject of this page should be Southern Europe. Focus on short stays. Make sure to use our brand, but have your take on it and show vision. This for me was the thing. Provide us with mobile and desktop designs as we go mobile first. Don't forget to have fun while doing this. Okay, so same strategy a few years later. Okay. Here we go. So same strategy a few years later. Yeah, I planned again. This took me a weekend. Okay, so think about it, 16 hours more or less. And in here, I was more aware of UX and research and more into it. Okay, so I couldn't think right away into the UI. I had to think a little bit more about the user. Okay, and all the experience, you know, and I was like very philosophical about it and thinking that the journey begins as soon as you start thinking about traveling, so not necessarily in their website. Yeah. In this case, with the briefing that they told me and the analysis I did, this is what I wanted to do as goals, okay, visually, to promote clarity through visual decluttering, provide focus using progressive disclosure, okay? I don't know if you are familiar with progressive disclosure. If not, I can also explain later. Differentiate graphic elements within a group, talk human with bold type, promoting an inspired dialogue, enable smart search and content based on location, focus on search as primary navigation, use warmer colors that relates to pamper and traveling, photography shows closeness and it's inviting. So there was a lot that I wanted to tackle here. Icons inspired by the brand, outliner, rounded and friendly, primary CTA using brand color, reinforcing proposition and guiding to purchase. Okay, these were my goals on how to improve the current page. Yeah. So I also had here a mood board. Okay, it's just more about, not so much about colors and anything like this. Is more like elements. Okay, that I was collecting inspiration from. I also did some ideation. Okay, so some sketching. I mean, I wouldn't call it sketching / wireframing. Okay, so just some ideas with some notes on how things would work and so on. Then I moved into digital tool, and I was starting to compose the wireframes, okay, and also playing a little bit with colors, experimenting step by step and so on. Then this is the proposal, okay? Warm, inviting, and immersive. So this was the experience I wanted to propose. Full width images, okay? Big focus here on the search, okay? Making the yellow pop with the purple. There's like a redesign of the icons here. And here, the continuation of the pages, okay? And in here, some of the features that I was introducing smart search based on location and inspiring through dialogue. So my main goal was to, instead of you just choose, now you see this everywhere, no? But at the time, not so much. Instead of choosing from a place to the other, it was based on a concept, an idea, somewhere sunny, and then you would give like suggestions of places to go, winter trips, romantic getaways. Now this is very common, but this was a few years ago. Yeah. So that was my main thing with this. Then adjusting to budget needs. Okay, so you could choose the budget. Then in here I went into the guidelines, right? The color, the font that I was using, the icons. I designed the icons myself, okay? And always with a little explanation of what they were, okay? Of the concept behind it. The components I did for this, and this was it, okay? So, with this project, what do you tell me? Did I get the job or not with this one? I see everybody says yes, very thorough. Maybe not enough process. Love the colors. Did you show mobile? Yes, it had mobile as well. Looks great, a lot of work. So I actually didn't got this job, okay? And I think the reason why, it's because I went too far away from what they wanted, okay? It was not very clear at the time, their feedback, yeah? But I guess they just wanted somebody at the time just reuse or work with what they had, and I completely proposed a new branding, meaning, well, I didn't change the logo or anything, but I changed the colors of the brand. I introduced new features and so on, just to make the experience better. So I was not just purely focused on visual, I was focused on the experience, okay? And I think that was not what they wanted. They wanted just purely visual designer, which is just focused well, on the visual aspect of things, yeah? Nevertheless, I had a lot of fun doing this project, and yes, I kind of feel, if I compare into the first one where they asked me 3 icons and I did that amazing process, and this one that was to redesign a page, probably I should have more stuff in here, okay? Show a little bit more the process, or yeah. So that's my take on it, okay? So some people say that maybe I should have shown more process and so on. Yes, exactly. Show vision. That's what I did. That's how I was saying in the beginning. Well, that for me was a challenge. But companies have different ways of recruiting people, okay? Most of the times, and I don't want you to feel bad if somebody reject, okay? Take a rejection as a redirection. Most of the times, okay, it's not because you are not good enough, it's just because they need another fit for the team, okay? So never think that the job not being for you, it's because you are a bad designer, okay? Most of the times it's because they need a different type of person, okay? Or personality even, okay? Many times people are hired for the personality of the team. So for example, if a team is very extrovert, or or in the team they are all very shy, or they, you know, like, depends, could be a strategy of hiring a specific profile. This also happens, okay? So there's a lot of factors, yeah? Good. Let me see here. They didn't give me any information besides the briefing you see here, okay? When you don't have information, you have to assume, okay? You can do a little research. Maybe now with AI is even faster. You can just get some data and go with it, but it's always going to be an assumption, and they know that. So don't worry so much. They know you don't know, okay? They don't really care about the end result, okay? You are not going to be solving their problems. What they want to know or to see is how you work and how you decide things. What is your process? This is what matters, okay? Good, let's go to the final one so we have some time for questions, because I see you have a lot of questions, okay? How ethical is to ask for so much free work up front? Very good questions. Add it to the questions, okay? So we tackle everything later, okay? So everybody that is asking questions in the chat, write it on the questions icon on the side, and we'll go one by one, okay? So I think we will have time. All right, so exciting to see this stuff. Have you ever seen like these job assessments before? Did you have an idea that it would be like this? Or let me know, because I feel like not many designers share this stuff It's nice, right, to see how it goes and how others are like sending their work and getting hired or not. Okay, it's very important. All right, let's go to the last one. Now, this position, senior UX UI designer at the company called letgo. Their briefing. So scenario, download the letgo app and choose an element you would like to improve. That was it, huh? Guidelines, the test should only take you 2 to 4 hours. I took this literally, huh? And I should, why not? I'm not expected to be like that, right? You can use the given template to present your results. Remember, we are more interested in the process than in the result. Important, and it's for everything, for every position. We want to see your design process and problem solving abilities. So this is what you're supposed to do. You can even reuse their presentation, super straightforward. They inclusive added like, we want the presentation with the following, and this you should already know the process, okay? Hypothesis, expected outcome, KPIs, workflow, key screens with final designs, competitor benchmarks, and whatever whatever pieces of work I would have done. Okay, so let's go to this one. So I didn't have to worry so much with the presentation style, which is good, and it could consume a lot of time. My recommendation for all of you is to have a default standard presentation template for you with your name and so on, and then use it throughout the years when you do this stuff, because we can get really locked into finding like a nice presentation style and so on. I wouldn't use Canvas or anything like this. Now Figma even has like the presentation feature, so build something as a template, and whenever you need it, just use that, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it. That's what I would do. Okay, good. So let's go with this one. All right, so I downloaded the app. As they told me, this was a secondhand marketplace where you can buy and sell products secondhand. Okay, so when a user opens the app, either he buys, sells, or leaves without buying or selling. This was me thinking about it. Okay, as a business, what happens? Yeah, the same way that I thought in the other one about traveling starts when we start thinking about it. Yeah. So this was the problem or the bigger thing to tackle or to work with, okay, that I picked up. Yeah, they told me just to improve whatever I wanted. So this was like what I thought about the business. In general, it goes like this: either you buy, sell, or go away. Yeah, that's what is happening. So I started based on these, wrote a bunch of how my tweets or questions I had at the time. Again, paper first, thinking about things first. Yeah, about how my tweets that I could pick up to work with, and I group them into because these are my tweets. It just came into my mind. Okay, not organized. Then I grouped them, and they were referring to specific parts of the app and so on. Then I decided to focus on this one, and you can choose this yourself by the amount of post-its you have, or just because you want to focus on it. Okay, having a bigger number of post-its is a nice way for you to choose things. Okay, so I decided to focus on this aspect of buying and how might we provide a continuous buying experience after the user left without buying. Yeah, might be a little bit like weird, but the idea behind it was, okay, you don't buy, but your intention is to buy. So how can we keep this intention going when you return? Yeah, this was my thinking. I didn't have access to anything, users, numbers. Okay, very unusual to give this. Usually this happens if you go to do like a whiteboard exercise. Okay, and this, I wouldn't say this is for junior positions. It's more for seniors. Okay. Then I wrote an hypothesis. Okay. An hypothesis is a way that a lot of companies work with. Okay, so it's not a problem. A problem statement states a problem that is existing. Okay, and how is that impacting users? Yeah, an hypothesis already hypothesizes that a possible solution, yeah, could fix that problem for specific users, okay? So they asked me to use it, and I did it. We believe that by starting a conversation with the user, okay, when you write an hypothesis, you don't need to say what is going to be exactly in detail, okay? But in this case, my idea was that we believe that by starting a conversation with the user in the home page, based in the user latest searches for all the returning users that left without buying, we will increase the percentage of users that finish the search and buy flow. So by starting a conversation based on the less activity they had on the app when they return, I believe that it would improve the conversion, meaning that they would actually eventually buy what they were looking for when they came here 2 weeks ago, for example, into the app, okay? Trying to explain you more or less also. Expected outcome. We expect that returning users will be more likely to continue the search and by flow, leading to an increase of purchase items, okay? Key performance indicators, the KPIs, yeah? Task success rate. Are returning users interested in continuing the previous search and by flow? Very simple way to measure. If the percentage of returning users that continue suggested flow is bigger than the users that don't, then it's success, okay? I mean, that would be good enough to measure success already. But how can a conversation start or continue? Notice I tend to have like these breaks with the slides, okay? This makes it engaging, and having like rhetoric questions or like the how might we, or this creates like a space for visually when you are presenting for a room or for people to focus on that, okay, and to guide all the steps, yeah, of the presentation as well. So now I'm gonna go into the solution part, yeah. I look into other solutions as a sort of an inspiration, okay. What does Airbnb does? They talk human. Bol.com, which is a Dutch company, showing the favorites in the homepage. Booking.com, continuing the conversation after purchase, suggesting items in the HP based on history at Medium, okay? So all of these ideas that other competitors had, I use them to create my own solution, yeah? So let's talk how that would happen in this app. Basically, we talk to the user in a human-friendly way. We remind the user of a previous search, showing relevant details. We do not force a sale. We guide the user and make it easy for him or her to continue with his previous intention to buy. So basically, this was a solution, very simple, okay? You don't need UX. Is not about making things super big or complex. Most of the times, solutions that work are very simple. And I will tell you a small story, okay, after this. So basically, in here, I'll just have like the conversation that I'm proposing, okay? So maybe this user was searching for something that they didn't found like 2 weeks ago. When they return, instead of just seeing from this to the bottom, that was the current app, they would have the possibility to continue what they were searching and actually buy it because now there are new items, for example, okay? How did I reach this option? I had here like some ideation, okay, with some different possibilities and explain basically, okay? Very important as well. What's next? What would you do, okay, with this project, okay? Or what are your assumptions or answers you need and so on? Because design is a never-ending process. By now, you probably know. Assuming users follow the suggested flow, how can we check if it leads to an increase in sales purchases, okay? What other type of content is relevant to be suggested? How can we keep the conversation going after a purchase? Is this feature competing with notifications? Because that's where they appear. What can we do for the users that are selling items? How does that work? Because these were for people that were buying. How do we start the conversation with them? Yeah, and more stuff. So very important also to show that you think about how would I measure this, or what answers do I need, or how, yeah, see yourself already in there. Yeah, like a designer actively working on this product. Yeah, cool. That's it. So what do you think? Let me move here. Did I got the job or not? I see some yeses. Yes, yes, yes. I think you got the clear explanations of your thought process, ideas. I sound proud. That's very important as well, right? Showing passion, in my case, was always very important in all my interviews. Okay, there are designers that are better than me. There are designers that are worse. Okay, it's all about your attitudes. Okay, and how you tackle things, how excited you are by the work you do, how willing you are to learn, to share, to listen. This counts a lot, especially when you are a junior. Okay, your attitude, because when you are a junior, you learn a lot, but believe me, it's not enough. You will continue to learn and do things. The work day to day is different from school. Okay, so mostly the juniors, they are hired. Okay, there's potential, but also it's more, is this person going to be to like a add-on to the team that is really going to be like brushing with energy, asking questions, progressing, or is going to be like a person that is on the side, quiet, not participating? This counts a lot, believe me. Okay, perfect. Yes, I did get the job. Okay, this was the job that I got to move here to Barcelona. Now, a very quick story, and then we will go into your questions because I see there's a lot. Remember, I was telling you, UX is not, when once you know the problem, the solution usually is very simple. UX is not about making things very complex, very it has to be super beautiful, or it doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, UX is all about serving the user needs. Okay, an example at this company, letgo, that in the meanwhile they got sold, so it was like a unicorn company, and the investors sold the one in the United States. Then we launched a new business in Turkey. It also got super big and it got acquired, a bunch of stuff. This is very normal to happen. Okay, I don't work there anymore. It doesn't exist anymore, the company itself. Yeah, because it got acquired. Now, I remember when I joined this company, there was a team of designers and so on. And in the interface, in the homepage, there was an icon for filters to filter your search. Okay. And there was a problem because users were not using that filter. Okay. And it was important for them to filter because they would get better results of the products they would want. And this would lead to people to buy stuff. Right. So it was an important metric. And I asked my boss at the time, but did you pick up this already? And my boss said, yeah, a lot of designers, these A and B, they did design different icons, but nothing works. Well, this is very obvious. If the icons don't work, it's because people don't understand the symbol. So why don't we just write it filters instead of having an icon? And I did this. That took me literally 2 minutes, and it increased and increased the usage of the filters. Okay, so most of the times things are very easy to solve and they do not require very complex things. So this is just a nice story that I always like to tell, because everybody was designing different icons, and that's not the problem. The problem is people just didn't identify with it, they didn't use it. As soon as you wrote it, people would use it. Okay, okay, good, perfect. Let's go into your questions. Okay, actually, before that, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram, I'm happy to do it. So okay, so I'm gonna also add it here, and then also have Instagram, professional one. Good. Okay, yeah, AI, thank you for that. It cannot replace everything for sure. With AI, use it as an extension of you. Okay, do not let AI take control. I see a lot of people, or a lot of people tell me they want to move into design so that they can be creative, right? If you allow AI to create for you, then you'll be fed up with this job very fast because you are not actually creating anything. Okay, so use AI until a certain point, but don't rely on it for everything, because also if you don't bring your critical thinking, your creativity, then you are not needed. Okay, so bring your own uniqueness, your way of seeing things, of tackling things, of create things from scratch as well. Okay, use AI as an extension, not as like the primary anchor of your life. Okay, as a professional, that's my advice. Okay, because if you rely too much on it, you end up, your brain starts to not be comfortable creating stuff and innovating, and this is very important in our field. Okay, perfect, good. Let's go to the questions here. Let's go one by one. All right, I'm going to start by the first one. Will the slides be shared? A recording will be shared, Jake. Okay, so after you finish the webinar, it is going to be sent to you, okay, to your email, to everybody's email that sign up for it. Okay, so if in the future you sign up for an event and you cannot attend, you always get the recorded as long as you are registered. Okay, is common practice to include how much time you spend on a project? No. Okay, what you can do is what I did in the first project, just to have an overview of the time that you spend in each part if you want, but it's not common. Okay, and you don't have to, because it could be that they ask you, okay, you have 2 days to do this, but actually you spend 2 days and that evening, and maybe it's because you were feeling anxious, and so but nevertheless, if somebody asks you to do something in 2 days and you take a week, it's a problem. You need to manage people expectations regarding the time you take to do stuff. That's why in Designlab you have like 2 hours to do this, 3 hours to that, and you should try more or less to go with it, because then you can plan how long you will take to do things, and when you work with others, you can say, yes, I can have this done in 3 hours, or no, it's not going to be possible. This is very important. Okay, so my recommendation is, you don't have to add your time there. I would never add the exact amount of hours, but you can put percentage of effort if you want. Okay, all right, how long in total did this take you? I think I told this in the meanwhile, Paul. All of these exercises were weekend assignments. I think I was working at all of them. I'm not really sure, actually. Maybe I was not. At least two of them. I think the last one I was not working. I was in Portugal for that summer. But the other ones I was working, so I did in the weekend. And the other one, they told me 4 hours. It was impossible for me. My brain is not that fast. I mean, 4 hours to do benchmark and think about stuff and reflecting was impossible. I took more time. I think I took 8 hours on that one, not 16. I think I took a day. Definitely not 2 to 4 hours. And I told them, actually, in the interview, like, you asked me 4 hours, it's impossible. Just that is for me to start putting things together in the presentation and so on. And I told them it was not realistic. The others, it was 60. It was a weekend. Okay, Saturday and Sunday. Are these home assignments very common? Yes, they are very common. Again, I'm not in favor of it, but they do happen, and a lot of companies have this as part of their recruitment process. The last time I was searching for a job, I refused to do them because I felt I had a very strong portfolio and I had the skills, the recommendations, everything they needed to check my profile. And when I went to the interview, I said I didn't do it unless there's a skill they really need to check. And they still hired me, and they removed that from the recruitment process. So I think that was a win. Nevertheless, there's a lot of companies that do ask. Now you have to see, do I want to, for example, if they tell you, okay, this is one morning, like 4 hours or so, you can think that, okay, well, maybe I'm going to do it. It's a good practice. I have the time. Or like in my case, I have nice things to show. Yeah, like these traffics, I didn't got hired, but I have it in my portfolio, for example, because I think it's a good example of work or how I work, etc. So depends on on how you tackle. I remember I once went to an interview that they wanted me to go there to do an assessment during a morning, and I had to take a morning off vacation. So I lost money and I didn't got hired on that one. I don't even remember what was it about, but I felt like this is not okay. Yeah. So it depends on you. Okay. Your availability, and how things are going for you in the job search, okay, if it goes against your principles or values or not, okay. I think it's a very personal decision for sure. Again, for me as a senior, I don't do it anymore unless there's a skill they are not sure. Yeah, but it happens. Okay. All right, next one. Besides UX UI title roles, what other titles would be useful to search for? Okay. No, UX is not visual, okay? So nowadays, product design, okay, that will touch a little, it's going to be, it depends on the company. Honestly, look into the job description, not so much the role name, because it overlaps. I mean, I remember in the past seeing UX design positions where they ask for the person to be doing PowerPoint presentations. So there's everything out there. Yeah, a lot of companies are not mature enough regarding UX. Okay, so just see the job description if it aligns with the skills you have or the skills you want to learn. You don't have to know everything. Okay, it's okay that you only have 80% or 60% of those skills and still go for it. You will learn there. This is fine, okay? Also, it's important in your jobs to stay challenged. So you want to not know everything. So you keep on wanting to learn, okay, and progress and be motivated at your work. If you already know how to do everything, you're going to be stagnated very soon, okay? So product designer, interaction designer, just designer, UX designer, UI designer, visual designer, okay? Search for all of these topics, yeah? Okay. How many years of experience did you have when you applied for these roles? The visual design one, maybe like 9, I think. And the senior, I had like 10, 11, maybe. And the last one, I had like maybe 12, I would say. Maybe a little bit less. Let me think. Maybe a little bit less, but around that, more or less, okay? Nowadays, back in the days, you would get to senior after a couple of years, okay? But now, sometimes I see some startups that they hire somebody, the person performs very well, and they need to build a team, and they move very fast into senior and so on, okay? But usually, it takes a couple of years for you to get to. It takes a couple of years for you to get to senior. I would say junior is going to be 1, 2, 3 years, midweight 3 to 5, 6, and then from then on senior, okay, and then lead and so on. It depends a little bit how you perform, the company, if you have room to grow and so on, okay. All right. At the end of the day, could you add all of these to your portfolio? Of course, I have it. The traffics one, I have it. I have another business case. If you go to my portfolio, I'm going to write it after. If you go to my portfolio, I have their business cases. I also did one for TomTom, and I have it there because I like it. I think it's nice projects, okay? With the icons one, I don't have it, but I actually could have it. And the letgo one is also a nice one, but I end up working there and I have more relevant work to show, okay? All the work that I do, I'm actually proud of it, okay? Some of them I'm more excited than others. The traffics, I was not so excited because I know that I didn't do my best and I could have done it better. Nevertheless, it's still my work and I like it, okay? I put love on it, okay? So you should do the same. Being passionate about what you do is great for success, okay? Do you feel that it's better to err on the side of making something simple to show, or do you try to be more comprehensive? I think it's good to be comprehensive, okay, and to show in detail, because there's so many people applying and there's so many things to see that they want to hire the best, okay? How do you show that you're the best? You pay attention to detail, you show all of the steps and so on, okay? Okay, let's see. How ethical is to ask for so much free work up front? I already told you, okay? Depends on your values, okay? A lot of companies do this. I don't agree with it, but it's how the market goes. See what feels good and reasonable for you as a person, as an individual, okay? Have you or anyone you know even be asking to do job assessment before even adding an interview? No, you always have a call with the recruiter or with the designer first, okay? They only ask for you to do this, usually the final 3 people. So you never ask to do a job assessment. Like they don't ask 20 people or 50 people to do this. It's usually already filtered, okay? And it's just the job assessments is for them to choose between 3 candidates, for example, okay? So if you're asked to do that, you already know that it's like you against 3 or 4 people, maybe not more than that, because the team needs to spend time reviewing this stuff, okay? And people that are hiring, it's because they need people, so they don't have a lot of time. Okay, we are a little bit over time, but I'll see if I can. When you did these assessments, did you just submit the presentation? Did you have to present it? I went to interviews in the companies, okay? This was before COVID. So actually the last one, I was in Portugal and they fly me in from Portugal. So they pay my trip, the hotel that was super nice, okay, here in Barcelona, the companies here in the marina, everything was paid for me to come here. So I assume they were really interested in me, okay? So yes, you usually go. Now maybe there's a lot of companies doing this online, but back in the days before pandemia, you would go to the companies, okay, with your laptop and well dressed, smelling good, to cause an impact, okay. A company I did an interview with had a working software with a bad UI, but needed a UX designer to upgrade the UI and probably the interaction design as well. How is this is what they ask. How would you go about bringing a change to the legacy system? Well, you have to think about that yourself. What can you do? Just check what is wrong, do an evaluation, okay? Samar, do an evaluation of what is wrong and see how it could be improved. Yeah, that's it. Do you have any books, websites you can recommend that are good for practicing whiteboarding and more on-the-spot exercises? No, I don't have any books, but I can propose to tackle this subject as well, the whiteboard exercises, okay? But Natalie, this would be more, usually this is more for senior positions. And basically, you just have to, on the spot, be able to solve things. So you have to rely on your knowledge and your method, okay? For example, my method, I told you, I always plan first. How much time I'm going to spend, what am I going to do, and then I act, okay? How do you approach the KPIs and business metrics in UX? Well, when you work in the company, you have those already, okay? If you don't have those, you have to think about yourself, okay? There's a framework from Google that is called HEART, HEART. Yeah, this is a way for you to measure success, for example, that you can bring into your assessments when you don't have access to this stuff. But KPIs, key performance indicators, will always be around retention, conversion, and so on, okay, and acquisition. I have here many more questions. If you have the time, I can continue. I don't mind, okay? Does it matter if you present via PDF or a case study on your website? Please, a PDF presentation, okay? It's, or worse, showing projects in Figma. I've conducted interviews before, like I was hiring before, and it's horrible when you show things in Figma and it's just like jumping around, like prepare, okay? Have a presentation, prepare of your best case study. In October, I'm going to present a case study, actually a case study at this company, okay? An MVP and how was the process and so on. But that is also a case study I was showing in interviews. So sign up for that so you have an idea, okay? But please have a PDF presentation. Don't show in your portfolio. Yeah, just whatever you have in your portfolio, put it together and go slide by slide by slide, okay? what kind of questions did you ask the potential employer? How you spot red lights? Well, you can always do a bit of research, okay, Glassdoor and all of this stuff, and see like reviews of employees. Ask them about how the team works, how is the day to day, what are their biggest challenges, what is their mission, what are their goals for the quarter. You want to know if they have this stuff in place or not. As a juniors, one thing you want to ask is there a career plan for juniors? Because you want to know if you're going to be stuck as a junior, or if you actually have a career plan. So maybe in 2 years you can move into mid and you make X amount of money. If you performance in that way, you want to know these. If they don't have it, probably going to be stuck in the same position for a long time. So ask about if there's any career plan at the company, okay, for you to know how you can evolve. Yeah, that's very important. The most common mistakes. Well, jumping straight into Figma and not showing the thinking or not explaining the decisions. Again, being messy with your presentation, you know, like Figma, go back and forward, not have a line of thought. You could be even very good, but this is a big no-no. Designers need to know how to communicate. You'll spend a lot of time persuading people. You'll spend a lot of time explaining things to others, showing your work, users stuff. I mean, you have to explain yourself well. Okay, so if your communication is not good, it's already like a big no-no. How am I going to communicate with this person to work with? A designer needs to talk with PMs, developers, you know. So that's very important. Huh? Present yourself clearly, your idea structure, and have a PDF presentation. It takes you 2 hours to do that. Okay. How can UX designers from diverse cultural backgrounds, such as African designers, tailor their portfolios and applications to appeal to European job market while still highlighting their unique perspectives? Well, search for portfolios, do a benchmark for yourself. Okay, your portfolio is also UX project. Benchmark, how are European designers presenting themselves? Okay, I see some patterns, so maybe this is something that is expected, but how can I make this different because I'm unique? Okay, not just because you're from another continent, everybody should do this. Okay, how are you unique in related to everybody else? Because recruiters are having like 400 applicants. How are you different? How do you tell your stories differently? Okay, what is your personality? Can I see your personality in your portfolio? How do you show it? This is creative work. Okay, see things, and when you have ideas, start pointing them, start making sense of things, creating like mind maps, and maybe you realize, okay, what type of person I am. Well, I'm very extrovert and I like bright colors and this, and I'm always saying things with a little of a joke. So maybe this is how you write in your portfolio. Okay, good. Let's see, just one more. One piece of advice. Okay, just two more. Piece of advice for someone starting a career in UX UI. I just told it. Okay, be unique. Do not see what makes you stand out. Ask others. You can do this exercise today after our webinar. Ask your parents, your friends, what do you think my characteristics are, like my personality? Reflect on it. It's like, how do I show this? You can show it through colors, you can show it through the style of your portfolio, through the way you write, to the way you show your images, to the way you present yourself. Okay, be disruptive. Okay, you don't need to fit in. Yeah, you need to show that you know the process, you tackle things, but then bring your uniqueness. This is very important. Okay, Michael, I started my career in UX less than 6 months ago, with me being African. Okay, this was the one that I was answering already. Okay, I think I answered everybody. Okay, good. I think I didn't miss any of them, I hope. Okay. Okay, I think I answered everybody. Good. So, was this helpful for you? Perfect. I'm happy that you liked. I hope you get inspired, motivated, okay? Think about your uniqueness. Use FigJam to do your own mood board as a designer, what you believe in, which companies you would like to work and not, and how do you stand out. Ask your family and friends, how do they see you, what qualities they think you have, or yeah, work a little bit on this self-reflection, and you will see it's going to be easier to stand out in whatever way you will. Okay. Oh yeah, my portfolio. Okay, let me write here. I think this is it. Perfect. I'm happy that you enjoyed. Don't forget, in October there's the letgo MVP. It's a nice case study for you to see like a realistic project, okay, from a company, working with other departments, being like the lead designer of that project, okay, running workshops and launching a new product into the market. I think is also interesting for you to see. Okay, the program in Amsterdam is called Digital Society School. Yeah, just wrote it. Of course, Amanda. Yeah, you can connect with me. Yeah, I also offer like mentoring services, so feel free. Yeah, good. Thank you. I'm happy that you enjoyed. Have a nice evening. I hope to see you again. Don't be shy. Say hi on LinkedIn or Instagram. Okay, I'm happy always to connect with everybody. Yeah, have a nice evening.